Well, it is cold outside because hell has officially frozen over. And I do know that that is a line that CM Punk did make last night on Raw. I did check out his promo for the first time in 10 years. It was actually a Monday Night Raw that I actually cared to see what was going to happen in it. And that is something I personally did not think was going to happen, because it just like Raw has just not appealed to me. I try to get back into Raw, and I just can't. I just can't. But with the new leadership from Triple H, maybe it's gonna go in the right direction because CM Punk, a Chicago-made Punk, did show up at War Games, did show up at Survivor Series, and I kind of want to give my thoughts on it because I am a massive CM Punk fan. I've been a CM Punk fan for a very, very long time since he showed up on the scene in WWE. I did not see his initial run with Ring of Honor, but when he debuted in WWE, I was instantly just hooked as a fan. And funny enough, when the whole debacle with Triple H and Vince McMahon and him being fired after leaving and then being fired on his wedding day, his last day on Raw was basically the last time I watched any type of wrestling. I just felt like the product wasn't going anywhere. It was clear that Vince McMahon was only interested in pushing the same type of people, the big jacked up goofball meatheads that can't talk on the mic or do the same 5 moves of doom. I'm talking about Roman Reigns, John Cena, those type of wrestlers, and they weren't interested in really pushing the Daniel Bryans, the CM Punks, and all of that. So I gave up on the product after CM Punk was fired, and I was gone for what was it, about 10 years. 2023 was the first time I got back into wrestling, and mostly because of CM Punk in AEW. I was interested in AEW. Now I know AEW hit the scene a few years back, but I never got into it because I was just waiting for something to draw my attention. And CM Punk went to AEW. I started reading all this stuff about him and the brawl out with the elites and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I got to go see what's going on. And I fell in love with AEW. Like, I am a massive AEW fan. Over the course of this year, not only did I get back into wrestling because of CM Punk, I was also introduced to AEW, which in my personal opinion, this is not getting into like a territorial debate with anybody online. I think wrestling per wrestling, it is the better show. Like AEW has the best wrestling. I can name at least 5 or 6 AEW matches that I have seen this year on either Dynamite Collision or a pay-per-view that is match of the year. It's hard for me to pick match of the year, whether it's the Daniel Bryan strap match, the Swerve Hangman death match, the Four Pillars match with MJF, the Kenny Omega Will Ospreay. Like, there's just so many different matches. Even the FTR versus Bull Cup Gold match, the tag team title match on Collision a few months back. These are all like top notch 5-star matches that are competing for like my match of the year. So with CM Punk returning to the wrestling scene and me getting my eyes back on wrestling, slowly I started getting back into the product. And I went over because I have a sister-in-law and a brother-in-law. They're like 21. They don't know any better. They are massive WWE fans. And I keep trying to convert them over, like trying to convert them. They don't listen to me. They just look at me like I'm super old. But so because they're here, I watch the WWE product. And look, with Triple H in charge, the product is getting better. There are certain things on the WWE roster that I am enjoying. I like the main event Jey Uso stuff. I'm glad he's getting a title shot. You're calling this dude main event, and this dude ain't main eventing shit. So I'm glad he's finally got a main event. Let's keep that keep that rolling. Keep that can rolling up the. And then you have Cody Rhodes over there. Cody Rhodes is one of the founders of AEW and all this stuff. And I really like what they're doing with Drew McIntyre. Judgment Day is starting to bore the hell out of me, just like the Bloodline is starting to bore the hell out of me. And I was close to just slipping off of WWE again and just strictly staying with AEW. I went to SmackDown a couple months ago. I believe it was July. I went to SmackDown. It was right before the Tribal Chief match with Jay and Roman Reigns. I was there for the signing of that on SmackDown. Sorry. And yeah, I went to SmackDown and it was the worst experience I've seen as a wrestling show. The wrestling was mediocre and all that stuff. And the WWE wrestling style is just not for me, right? I like the indie style, right? We go to CCW here in Orlando. I go to I've got tickets to go see Dynamite in December. So I like the fast-paced wrestling. But anyway, that's a long introduction for me to get to the point of this. Is for the first time in a long time, I tuned in to Raw last night because I wanted to see what CM Punk was going to do. He showed up at Survivor Series at the last second, right? Like, I was so mad. I thought they were going to do this swerve where Randy Orton didn't show up, and at the last second, CM Punk showed up. And then you could save Randy Orton's return some other time. They didn't do that. Randy Orton came. I'm not the biggest fan of Randy Orton. I like him as a performer. He is the biggest douchebag prick you will ever meet outside the ring. Like, this dude is a fucking cunt. He's such a fucking dick. So I don't like him as a person, but as a performer, okay, that's fine. But at the last second, CM Punk came out, and then we saw all the stuff with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre leaving and all that, all the behind the scenes stuff. So I had to tune in to Raw to see what the hell was going to happen. And I thought he cut a very, very good promo, and I enjoyed what he said. He didn't bury AEW. I think CM Punk coming to WWE, this kind of opens a floodgate to a lot of different things and a lot of different topics when you sit and you think about it. Was Tony Khan right in order to let CM Punk go for what happened at All In? Was he right? Was he wrong? Was he justified? Where does that put Jack Perry, who basically instigated this whole situation? Now CM Punk is back on Raw. He's back in WWE. He's going to sell a shitload of merchandise. The fans like me that grew up in that era that followed CM Punk. We're tuning back in. So you're getting a lot of that demographic that left the product on, well, CM Punk's back. Let me see what's going to happen. We're tuning back in. The numbers are going to go up. Meanwhile, you hear where Collision is barely making like 300,000 viewers on Saturday. So it kind of like was Tony Khan right by doing what he did? Where does that leave Jack Perry? I felt like they should have just fired Jack Perry too. I feel like the thing that happened at All In wasn't as bad as it kind of. I wasn't back there. So I don't want to make anybody feel like, yeah, this dude got the inside scoop. I wasn't back there. But I do know that from all the reports that I read, Jack wanted to use glass on Collision. CM Punk said, no, that's too dangerous. Use fake glass. And then Jack Perry on All In the pre-show, he went and instigated it on live camera. And CM Punk took offense to that. And that led to a scuffle in the back with Tony Khan feels his life was threatened, and he lets CM Punk go. But Jack Perry's still there. He's suspended. We believe he's one of the people behind the devil mask, but he's still there. So now your competition, who you're already getting your ass shellacked by, I think AEW is a better wrestling product, but WWE is the casual, right? It's the casual name. It's the PlayStation 5 to the Xbox. It is the Nike to the Reeboks. Doesn't mean that the Xbox and the Reeboks isn't great. It's just the casual people automatically go toward WWE. It is the marquee name. It's the average name. It is the Rice Krispies of wrestling. It's the thing that everybody knows. So now you got your biggest star you fired, and now he's going to the competition. And the numbers are just going to get better. And it makes you look bad. It makes you look incompetent. At the same time, I feel like a lot of fans are hypocrites because everybody's like, oh, he's a cancer. Blah, blah, blah. He's going to do this. Blah, blah, blah. He's a cancer. He's a cancer. This guy's a cancer. And a lot of people who claim to be CM Punk fans never watched him in AEW. But as soon as he comes back on WWE, everybody's a fucking CM Punk fan. So I'm like, what's going on? You guys claim to be CM Punk fan. You see it all over the internet. All over the internet. Everybody's talking, oh, I'm CM Punk. Yeah, but where were you guys when he was in AEW? Because if you were a fan of this wrestler, you follow him wherever he goes. I was a fan of the AJ Styles, the phenomenal one of the best wrestlers in WWE, and they don't use him for shit. I followed him in TNA. I followed him in WWE. Samoa Joe followed him in TNA, followed him in WWE, then over into AEW, right? CM Punk, I've been a massive fan. I like him just as much in AEW as I did in CM. I don't understand brand loyalty. Why do people just play PS5 like it's the greatest thing ever when it's so anti-consumer? Why do people follow WWE when it's so well, under Vince McMahon, it was so like anti-audience, you know? Where I mean, like, it was like Vince was like, it's his way or the highway. He doesn't care. He's not going to push the LA Knights or any of that. You know, it's always the big goofy guys like Roman Reigns who wrestles 5 times a year. And he did get better on the mic. He did get better on the mic over the years since I stopped watching. But besides that, you know, he pushes the same people over and over. Now Triple H is in charge. I see a lot of that changing. But yeah, CM Punk came back last night. I thought his promo was very, very well done. He didn't bury Tony Khan. He didn't bury AEW. I felt like his words were sincere. That he does feel good being back home. You know, I'm pretty sure it was something he was scared to do. He'd probably be called a hypocrite and all this. Seth Rollins even called him a hypocrite in his promo. You know, but he showed up and it probably does feel good. You know, to be honest, it was his last shot. Where else was he going to go? TNA? New Japan? Like, that was his only other options. The NWA? He had 3 options. NWA, New Japan, and TNA. You know? So, other than those 3 options, he had no choice but to go back to WWE. He goes back to WWE. He keeps his mouth shut. You know, WWE is a well-run ship. You go there. You listen to what Triple H has to tell you, and you do your job, and you take what you get, and you play the good soldier, and you end your career on a high note. That way, if you do get, like if you end your contract, and I don't know how long his contract is, 2 to 3 years, let's say, then the door is open to go back to AEW, and you can finish some feuds there if that's something you want to do, if you want to wrestle for the next few years, like Edge, you know? But I like the fact that he mentioned AJ, because he got a big pop when he mentioned AJ. He's married to AJ. So that was great. But yeah, overall, I thought the return was good. I thought the promo was good. I am going to be picking up that shirt, though. That shirt right there, I'm picking that shit up, man. First chance I get, I'm picking that shirt up. But yeah, so I mean, Triple H did one thing. He got me to tune into the product. I think there are 3 I think Seth Rollins, Gunther, and CM Punk are the 3 things that I tune into Raw to see. Because despite me not liking Seth Rollins' gimmick, I hate the whole coming out looking like Lady Gaga. He's a damn good wrestler. Gunther is a damn good wrestler. Shin Nakamura, damn good wrestler. You know, they wrestle the WWE style, the slow style that no one gets hurt. It's very, very safe. The PG style. But those are damn good wrestlers. So they got me to tune in. I'm interested. I want to see where it goes. But yeah, I mean, hey, he's back and good for him. And I hope it works out. And I'm curious to see what his first feud is going to be. And like it or hate it, the dude is one of the best in the world on the microphone. It's like him, Samoa Joe. Like, those are the 2 best people on the microphone. So, very curious to see what's going to happen. But anyway, guys, I rambled on for way too long, 15 minutes. Be sure to leave your comments in the comment box below. How do you guys feel about the Chicago-made Punk over here coming back to World Wrestling Entertainment? Even though I don't even know if they call themselves that anymore. It's like WWE, but I don't think they mentioned the wrestling part. Anyway, what do you guys think about Punk coming back to Raw, coming back to WWE, and what do you think is going to happen in the future? Leave those comments in the comment box below. Till next time, I'm Robert Storms, and that's my opinion. Later, guys.